G'day, my name's Picken. It's early morning at 6 a.m. Saturday morning. And I just wanted to share with you why I believe that banking is going to completely either go bankrupt or have to change their business model totally in the very next couple of years. Otherwise, they will go out of business like the railroads did, or the Volkswagens, or any other major industry that, quite frankly, functionally just was broken. Because banking is broken. Let me explain why. Now, just quickly, I will say that I did a video about 2 years ago on why brokers or estate agents were going to go out of business and how they basically add very little value as a middleman, and they can't justify their costs anywhere from 3, 4, sometimes as high as 7.5% plus VAT. Well, I fundamentally believe the same for banking. Let me explain why. Well, there's two things that will determine when an industry is about to be completely disrupted. And quite frankly, people tend to do things. They move 4 times away from pain more than they move towards pleasure. So people move away from pain. They don't necessarily move towards pleasure. So let me use my banking experience. I've been with Standard Bank, this bank here, since I was 12 years old. Okay, so they were very clever. They got me when I was 12 years old. Okay, and even though they are useless, horrendous, I haven't necessarily moved to another bank because, quite frankly, it's like jumping out of the kettle into the fire. It's none of them are any better than each other. So there's two things, basically. One is that the customer, me or anyone else, is so frustrated with the system. The system is broken. It doesn't work. It's inefficient. It's ineffective. Okay? And the second one is where it's expensive. Okay? So let's take an example. Uber. All over the world, catching a taxi, whether it was a yellow taxi or picking up your telephone and trying to phone someone, was an absolute nightmare in trying to catch a taxi. If you've ever been to New York and stood in the rain trying to hail down a taxi, it is a nightmare. Okay, if in London it's even worse, and in places like South Africa and China, it was a joke because they would take you via another city and charge you an absolute fortune. When I was in Beijing, one of the Americans I know, I used Uber. It cost me $30 to go from the airport to my hotel. That same trip, they charged an American $600. And it was first time in China, you had no idea. So that's why Uber came in, because not only was it a completely dysfunctional, broken industry, very localized around the world, and it was very untrustworthy, untransparent, and expensive. And that's why Uber and many other apps have just come in and completely changed things. It's going to happen to banking. I guarantee it. Let me give you 2 personal experiences. This bank here, Lloyd's Bank, I've been with this bank since 1999. I'm literally been a client of theirs now for 18 years. I've got 4 bank accounts with them and 2 overseas international bank accounts. That's 6 bank accounts with one bank, Lloyd's Bank. I've tried recently, so about a month ago, I have two cards, okay? But I've just told you I have 6 bank accounts. So I tried to phone them and say, listen, I would like bank cards and the PINs sent for my other 4 cards. They said, it's not possible to do it over the telephone. So as you know, I do business all over the world. I'm currently in South Africa. You have to go into the bank. You have to physically turn up. I said, guys, you're joking. They said, no, you have to physically turn up. I said, but why? Oh, and by the way, I have 2 cards, but only 1 PIN. So only one of these I have a PIN for. So I said, I want a PIN for the other card. No, you have to physically turn up. Okay, fine. So I fly all the way to London. Yes, you heard me right. I get on an international flight and I fly all the way to London. And I go into my home branch, which is Wimbledon branch in London, where I set up the account in 1999. I sit with the lady. I produce my 2 cards. I say, this one card works and I have a PIN for it. This one card, I don't have a PIN for it. I want a PIN. She goes, fine. We'll send it to you in the post. I'm like, you're joking. I said, you know that you're going to post it and then it's got to land in England. Then it's got to somehow get to South Africa. Surely I've got my passport here. I've got my card here. Surely you can just give me my PIN. No, it has to be posted. I'm like, I can't believe it. Okay. Anyway, fine. I've got 2 cards. One's working. I'll get the PIN. Right, now can I get my cards for my 4 other accounts? Yes, no problem, sir. They too will be posted. I give up. I literally give up. I'm like, fine, just do whatever you have to do. So they say it'll take 7 days. So I literally, told my tenants at my house in Wimbledon, I said, listen, I've tried to have it posted to South Africa. It never gets here. It gets lost in the post. It's like physically impossible. So I get my tenants in Wimbledon to tell us when the post arrives. My assistant stays on top of them. They send a picture. Now there's a whole bunch of posts. They don't know if it's my bank cards or not. And quite frankly, I don't want my tenants reading through my post. Anyway, they take pictures. I'm like, just query all the posts to me. I just need my bank cards. That's fine. This morning, I go online to try and buy some Bitcoin and Ether. And yes, I'm a little bit embarrassed to tell you that I am behind the scenes in terms of, and by the way, I'm trying to get into easy equities as well, but that's a separate conversation. So I try to go online. I've been told that Bitstamp's the best place to buy I know I'm South African, but I'm lucky enough to have accounts in England, Australia, America. And I'm told the best one's Bitstamp, so I go online. I, again, have been trying to set up this account for more than a week on KYC. I finally got all the KYC done. I thought, absolutely fantastic. I'm going to bring my working card along. I'm going to invest £2,000, which is over $2,500. And I'm finally going to get into the cryptocurrency world. Yes, laugh at me. I'm completely upset that I missed the rush of the last year. But quite frankly, in life, there's no point in crying. We all cry about buying Google shares 15 years ago. It's too late. No point in crying, might as well get in. So I was going to buy £2,000 worth of Bitcoin. And then once I've got that, I'm going to buy, I'm going to keep £1,000 of Bitcoin. I'm going to buy £1,000 of Ether. That was my plan. Unfortunately, my plan has been scuppered because now my bank card doesn't work. So I've been up since 4 a.m. this morning. I phoned the bank, or I tried to do the payment. It got declined. So I put all my details and it says it's declined. I'm like, what's wrong? So I phoned the bank. It says they don't recognize my telephone number. I tried for half an hour phoning. Then I phoned another number. And they say, no, they don't recognize my telephone number, but they'll call me back. They don't call me back. I like give up. I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I go on Lloyd's bank account and I phone the help desk line. I finally get to speak to a human being. And the lady says, oh, no, sorry, sir, we've canceled your cards. I'm like, what do you mean you cancel my cards? She says, no, when you were in the bank in September, we've canceled your cards. These 2 working cards, we canceled them. And by the way, if you're fraudulent, go and steal them because they canceled anyway. I don't know if I'm on a comedy show. I don't know whether to scream or laugh, okay? So the 2 cards I have, for one I only have a PIN number for, they've cancelled. They now have posted stuff to my other account. I'm like, just order more cards. Like, fine, whatever, just order more cards. I get hold of my tenants again. I say, please, guys, I really need these cards now. Now I have no access to my UK accounts. None, zero. Eventually I go, right, I'm going to go to Bitstamp. I'm going to do a payment. I go into I try and log in. They've got all the different sort codes and the SWIFT numbers and all that stuff. I can't make the payment. There's no BRC code. I'm like, so I phoned Lloyd's again. I said, listen, I want to send £2,000 to this company that is an English company. How do I do it? You need a BRC code. I'm like, beside myself. This is 2 hours later now. I finally get hold of Bitstamp. They give me the BRC code. I get back to Lloyd's. I put all the stuff into Lloyd's. And now we wait. Today is Saturday. Who knows when that money is going to reflect? Might it be Monday? Might it be Friday next week? Might it be 2 weeks? Might it ever arrive? I actually have no idea. I've got no trust in the bank. So everyone says they invest in the bank because of trust. I have zero trust in the bank and their capabilities and the people that work there. In fact, I think they are completely dysfunctional and useless. So that's my experience. Trying to buy Bitcoin and Ether, and I hope there's not a big rush in the next week because I will miss it. Now, just by the way, this is another little bank that you might have heard of called Diners Club. I'm with private banking with Standard Bank, like I just told you. Now, that's not exactly heroic, but it is at least supposedly for the selected few. These guys phone me up. They say they need to replace my card. And they say to me, where do you live? I'm like, you're joking, aren't you? And they're like, why? And I said, well, I haven't moved in 4 years. I'm private banking with Standard Bank, and Standard Bank are the ones giving me the Diners Club card. Surely you know what my address is. No. Please tell me your address. 10 minutes later, after trying to explain to this woman where I live, which is the same registered address I have with private banking, I gave up. I literally just gave up. I was like, I'm not doing this. It's frustrating, inefficient, and ridiculous. I literally got hold of my private banker and I said, dude, I don't care what you do. I'm not dealing with this. Like, you need to deal with it. And so I don't know what's happening. I don't have my card. I don't know when I'm getting a new card. That is people's banking experience. Now remember, people move away from pain 4 times more than they move towards pleasure. This is pain. This is frustration. And this is what the banked people of the planet are dealing with, let alone the 3 billion unbanked people on the planet. The world, ladies and gentlemen, is changing. And I want to share with you a little positive story to end off with this, quite frankly, negative frustration. So let me share with you this. 2 weeks ago, I was in Dubai, and below me down, I walk through a shopping center. Now, all of us have been to fancy events and trade shows and stuff and seen robots and blah, blah. This was in a shopping center. This was a real life bank, a bank in Dubai. So look at it. It's all no human beings, not one human being in there. It's all bank tellers, etc. And on the other side, literally, there's a little robot that like greets you. And it's all about, these are just pictures I took. Future of banking, let's bank conveniently. So you can see the bank on the left-hand side there with all the ATMs and stuff. And then this is the bank. Now, don't get me wrong, there were a couple, you can see the shopping center as well, by the way. There's a couple of human beings there if you need human beings. And then I love it. Let's explore the future of banking. I just wanted to show you, if I go in a little bit closer, this is my 2 colleagues, Kevin and Paul, dealing with this robot. I go up to them. This is a hilarious video of them actually talking to this robot. This is just a picture of the bank. This is the little robot and how he speaks to you. It's quite interesting that they make robots shorter than you so you don't feel overwhelmed. And there's a little picture of the little robot. So guys, whether this is the future of banking or not, I'm not sure. But I can guarantee you one thing. If there's any industry where people feel complete pain, okay, and the user experience is absolutely awful, and the fees are extremely high, inefficient, and take days and days, if not weeks, to solve problems, they will be disrupted by technology. I guarantee it. And that is why I guarantee that banking will either change or it will go bankrupt and disappear. Mark my words. And hopefully in the next few days or weeks, I will be investing in Bitcoin and Ether. And I can guarantee you that I am going fully now into the cryptocurrency market. I want to walk the talk. As you know, we're building our own cryptocurrency, which is based on real estate, which quite frankly is like Bitcoin, but based on an asset that every single person around the planet understands. And so that's really exciting. Ping me if you want more details on that. Thanks very much. Sorry for a rant and rave, but I thought I'd share my personal experience of 2 equally inefficient banks around the world and why they're going to go bankrupt. Cheers.